this on? I don't hear the mic. I don't hear it. It is on now? There we go. We are safe in the unknown. It's where we come from. It's where we'll go back again. No one really knows how it really goes. No one really knows how it really goes. No one really knows how it really goes. No one really knows how it goes. We are safe in the unknown. It's where we come from. It's where we'll go back again. Life is a mystery. Death is a mystery. If this is all I know, can I feel safe? Can I be free? We are safe in the unknown. It's where we come from. It's where we'll go back again. We are safe in the unknown. It's where we come from. It's where we'll go back again. Life is a mystery. Death is a mystery. If this is all I know, can I feel safe? Can I be free? We are safe in the unknown. It's where we come from. It's where we'll go back again. We are safe in the unknown. We are safe in the unknown. We are safe in the unknown. It's where we come from. It's where we'll go back again.
Okay, it's not.
Light a candle for those that we love. Light a candle for those that we lost. Light a candle for every boy and girl. Light a candle and send it round the world. When the pain seems too much to bear and darkness is everywhere and life seems so far from fair, don't you fall into despair. Light a candle for those that we love. Light a candle for those that we lost. Light a candle for every boy and girl. Light a candle and send it round a candle, light a candle, light a candle, light a candle, light a candle in your heart, light a candle, light a candle in your soul, light a candle, light a candle, light a candle, light a candle for those that we love, light a candle for those that we lost, light a candle for every boy and girl, light a candle and send it around the world.
Good morning. Please join me in singing our opening song, Thank You for This Day.
Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Madison and our live stream celebration. We welcome all of our online viewers and our beloved community. I'm Josie, and I'm serving as your celebration assistant today. Please join me as we open our service in prayer. So what I'd like you to do now is just take a nice deep breath, just a deep letting go breath. Just letting go of everything in the outside world. And taking your awareness to your heart. And just connecting with that beautiful love light that resides in your heart. That love and light that is you. That love and light that is the divine within you. Sweet Spirit, we hear the rain falling today. We know that you are blessing us with your grace. You are watering our flowers, our trees, and our Mother Earth. We ask that we use the rain as a symbol to wash away our fears, our sorrows, our doubts. And we ask to be blessed by your grace as it heals our bodies, our minds, and our souls, and the world. And so it is. Amen. So Today we do the daily word, and the word for the day is let go and let God. When faced with a decision to make, do my thoughts turn immediately to divine guidance? Or do I seek God's help only when all else fails? Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore wrote that God loves to be used, and the more you use him, the more easily you use him, and the more pleasant his help becomes. God lives in me and expresses through me. All of the attributes of God are as near as my next thought. I release my attachment to limited human reasoning. I center my mind and heart on the constant flow of divine love, wisdom, understanding, and strength. In the divine flow, I find answers to questions. New possibilities for good emerge. I move forward with confidence. And from Deuteronomy, or whatever, from there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him if you search after him with all your heart and soul. And our affirmation together: I let go and trust the divine in me. And our second reading today from the Tao is, actually it's from Charles Wagner, very short and very sweet. Joy is not in things, it is in us. And then please join us in singing the song, I've Got Peace Like a River. We take a moment now to welcome any new folks streaming with us today. Please explore the unityofmadison.org website to learn more about this, and please sign up for our weekly news email. The link is in the lower right-hand corner of every page. In addition to our usual Sunday suspects, that would be Martin, myself, and Reverend Evin, we have part of our wonderful Unity Jazz Band, and we are so grateful to have them here today. Yay! Oops, I thought they were going to show you. I thought I was introducing, I'm sorry. Okay. Now we extend our gratitude to the garden team. They recently completed our spring garden cleanup. Flowers are blooming all over, and for that we say thank you. We also recognize Lisa Peterson of Studio 6 Sense. So she is the creator of all the beautiful imagery in our PowerPoint materials. Thank you, Lisa. And now for the daily or the weekly updates. So we will continue having our live stream 10 a.m. service until further notice, so please continue to join us and tell your friends. We also have other things Zooming. We have a virtual lunch with Reverend Evin on Thursdays at noon. We have a midweek prayer circle with me, Josie, on Wednesdays at noon. And we have a drop-in fellowship at 10 a.m. on Fridays. And I've heard that's a fun event. And it's headed up by Ari John. And he also heads up and does a wonderful job of the prayer and meditation circle on Mondays, Fridays, and Sundays. And he sends out a nice reminder right before his service, which makes it really nice too. And then we continue to have our virtual Youth Ed, and we want parents to contact the Youth Ed at unityofmadison.org and ask to be invited into the Zoom link. And we also have on Sundays at 11:45, we have a wonderful class called Food for Spiritual Thought. It's on Zoom, and the book we're studying right now is called Divine Audacity. And we also have temporary food support for those in need, and you can see the Thursday email for further information. And now, I want you to imagine that you can greet your neighbors with a virtual hug and singing the face of God.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my arms. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my arms. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
Yo, I could feel the vibes. Okay, so well, we also want to acknowledge at this moment that the virtual Youth Ed is happening, and we are so grateful that that continues. And right now, I'd like you to join me in saying together our vision, mission, and core values. Together, our vision, celebrating a world transformed by love. Our mission, transforming lives through inspiration, connection, and sacred service. Our core values, we are accepting, empowering, heart-centered, truth-seeking, and generous. And now our meditation song, one of our very favorites by Carol, is Grace is Here.
Grace is here. Grace will hold you and
I now invite you to join me as we enter into our time of Sunday morning meditation. So as we enter into this time of meditation, I invite you to close your eyes or just find a spot on the floor to just soften your gaze. Begin to root your feet to Mother Earth. Just allowing the chair or the floor or the cushion to support you. Feeling your body relax. Letting go of any concerns or anything in the outside world. As we relax deeper into our time of meditation. I invite you to now bring your awareness to the top of your head, the crown chakra. Begin to really focus your attention in that space, and as you do, I invite you to envision it opening wide. Opening a willingness. And inviting in all that's good in the world. Remembering the words that we sang this morning. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Further inviting in these feelings of wonderful gratitude. Pouring in through the crown chakra and feeling every pore and cell of your body. Allowing these feelings of gratitude to grow to such a large feeling that it feels like you just can't contain it any longer. Maybe you silently or even audibly yell out loud, "I am alive." My world is beautiful and magnificent. I'm grateful for the joy and the peace and the love in my life. I am filled with this amazing, wonderful, joyful feeling of gratitude. And as we prepare to enter into our moment of silence, I invite you to take these feelings into this moment and into this space with you. And just allow yourself to feel this gratitude in this moment as we enter into our moment of silence. And as you begin to bring your awareness back to this time and space, you also bring with you a knowing. A knowing that this gratitude is always within you. Knowing that you can connect to it at any time. In fact, that gratitude within you is begging for that connection. It welcomes that connection. I am gratitude. I am grateful. I am thankful. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this beautiful, amazing, magnificent day. Namaste. And now I invite you to bring these feelings of gratitude into our New Lord's Prayer.
Help us to love beyond
Good morning, all of you wonderful souls out there. Spirit fills all, is all, is. Spirit breathes, and the universe appears. Spirit has a thought, and you are here. Express it, express it, express it. Be the living expression of Spirit's thought. Spirit plays, trees arise, and flowers bloom. All is holy in God's holy room. Respect it, respect it, respect it. All of life is God's breath on earth. Spirit plays, birds appear, soaring heavenward. All breath, thought, and dream manifest God's word. Reflected, reflected, reflected. Be the living reflection of heavenly desire. Heavenly desire. Heavenly desire.
You who perhaps have not ever attended a Unity of Madison service, that is our amazing husband and wife, half of our Unity Jazz Band duo, Steve and Sherry Roberts. And we thank you very much. That was amazing this morning. Right on. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about this morning is, again, you see what we're doing on Sundays and probably throughout the week with a lot of the things that are going on at the church, but we don't always get to see what you're doing right now. So I wanted to share some pictures that some of our congregants have sent in. We've got Catherine, who took a beautiful picture of a sunrise or sunset, and Doris on her travels took a picture of this beautiful bird, and I apologize, I don't know my birds, but it's a beautiful bird. Kay Frazier, who has been playing cards with her cat. I don't know the cat's name, but she's been playing cards with her cat. And Jennifer Parker, who's been spending some time with her grandson. I don't know if this is recent or not, but a picture of her and her grandson. So it's beautiful to see that bond between the two of them. So thank you very much. It is good to see what some of you all are doing right now during our COVID-19 situation or time. So it's good to see faces. So for those of you who may not have ever tuned in with us before today, my name is Reverend Evin, and I'm the minister here at the Youth Idi of Madison, and welcome you so much for tuning in this morning. And something else I wanted to mention, Josie said something about the garden team this morning, and they continue to do an amazing job. Some of them were up here yesterday, and another thing, I'd like to invite you, if you need some time just to get out of the house and want to drive around a little bit, to drive by the church, 601 Tompkins Drive here in Madison. Check out the beautiful flowers, the beautiful garden. And we have a labyrinth here. And the weather has been beautiful. Lots of times when I'm up here during the week, I've been looking out the window and seeing people peacefully walk that labyrinth. And I invite you to come and do that if you feel called to do so. It's a nice, quiet, and private time, and you can keep your social distancing while you're doing that. So definitely keep that in mind if you need something to get out and do or feel a spiritual call to do that. So today is our fourth out of our fifth Sunday series of the Tao. So I wanted to kind of continue with that a bit. And when I was planning the talk this week, I thought about a saying, a quote that a good friend of mine always uses. And she has it in her signature line on her email, and she'll say it oftentimes too, but she says, "You are the eyes through which the universe sees itself." Now I invite you to really listen to that and allow it to really sink in for a minute. You are the eyes through which the universe sees itself. I don't know about you, but I'm getting what Josie calls God bumps. You know, I'm feeling chill bumps, because that is a really hefty honor, in my opinion, to know that you are the eyes through which the universe sees and expresses itself. Lao Tzu once said, "The great Tao flows everywhere, to the left and to the right. All things depend upon it to exist, and it does not abandon them. To its accomplishments it lays no claim. It loves and nourishes all things, but does not lord it over them." So first, let's talk a little bit about the universe and what that really means. Now, Charles Fillmore referred to it as the Word, and then referred to the Word as the thought of God, or the sum total of God's creative power. And we know that this God power resides within each and every one of us. Our thoughts, our spiritual creative power, we are all of a sum of what is the universe. Each and every single one of us are the eyes of this power of God. Now, the second of the Unity 5 principles states, our essence is of God. Therefore, we are inherently good. This God essence was fully expressed in Jesus, the Christ. So one of the ways in which we can truly become the eyes in which the universe sees itself is through the way of love. And I want to talk about that a little bit about today, the way of love and what that is and how we possibly get to it. Now, one of the ways in which we express this God within is through love. And let's face it, it is really difficult to follow a true spiritual path without love, isn't it? Love is like one of the key ingredients to following a true spiritual path. Within that love also, we don't distinguish one from another. In other words, it kind of goes back to my talk last week, if you tuned in, about oneness. I no longer see where I end and where you begin. Instead, I look at you and I see a part of myself. I then love you as I love myself. Now, this all sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Love and loving ourselves and loving each other. But how can we learn more about it and really begin to live from that place of true love? Now, growing up in a traditional church, and even now, I often hear people say that they love God. And I've sometimes wondered exactly what that really means when they say they love God. For me, it kind of triggers some of those feelings of growing up in a more traditional church, because to me, when I hear that, I begin to imagine God sitting on a throne out there somewhere as something outside of ourselves. But does it really mean that? Or does it have to mean that? Now, Miss Jasmine Lee Corey, in our book, The Tao of Contemplation, she tells us that the lovers of God have a personal relationship with the divine. It is the central, consuming relationship of their lives. So I like that description a little bit better when I hear people say that they love God. It's more of that personal connection, more of that personal relationship of God within. Now, Miss Corey, in her book, she mentions a man by the name of Brother Lawrence. And I've mentioned him here before, but I feel he's worth mentioning again. Because in my opinion, he is one of the purest examples of someone who truly exhibited a relationship with the divine in each and everything that he did. Someone later on found a compilation of his writings and condensed them into a booklet called Practicing the Presence of God. And if you've never read it, I highly encourage you to order a copy of it. It's a wonderful little booklet just to pick up and read, and to truly read from a place of the heart of someone who had that constant connection in each and everything he did. Even as minutely as washing the dishes, he maintained this connection with God. Now, Brother Lawrence, he was a 17th century monk who carried with him a continual awareness of the presence of God. He remembered that divine within in everything he did, everywhere he went, and he truly lived from that. Now, it was said that he retreated to a place in his heart where the love of God made every detail of his life of surpassing value. He even once said, "I began to live as if there were no one save God and me in the world." Now, to be fair for us for a moment, Brother Lawrence, he lived in a 17th century monastery. So I would imagine it was probably a little bit easier for him to maintain that continual awareness. He likely didn't get up and go to a corporate job, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, or more. He didn't have social media and the distractions of TVs and cell phones. We tend to have a little bit more of those distractions in our lives, but it doesn't mean that we can't still practice our own relationship of love with the divine. One way we can do this is by practicing something, and I know we're talking about the Tao, but I'm going to slip into the Sufi tradition for a moment. It doesn't mean we can't practice something from the Sufi tradition called Dhikr, which means prayer of the heart. Now, this practice itself consists of a sacred word or phrase or mantra, which in unity speak kind of sounds like a little bit of like an affirmation or something, doesn't it? Now, the Sufis say that first you're very conscious of the practice of Dhikr. You have to consciously remember to do it. You have to be conscious of it and, kind of make yourself do it at first to get into the swing and make it a little bit of a habit. But they said that after a while, it begins to take hold in the heart, and it eventually continues without any conscious thought. They say that first you do the Dhikr, and then the Dhikr does you. So it then begins to seep into your subconscious, and it becomes almost like a second nature. Sufis say that it starts to stop the normal mind and prepares the normal mind to go deeper. Now, it's worth mentioning here, I feel, that Brother Lawrence admitted that his continual practicing of the presence of God wasn't an easy one. Even for a monk back in the 17th century, he admits that it's not easy to have this continuous practice of the presence of God. And he mentions the years that he spent on this discipline. He didn't wake up one day and be like, you know what? I'm going to carry this awareness with me wherever I go. No, it took even a 17th century monk years of this practice. He said, as often as I could, I placed myself as a worshiper before him. And there's the word him in there, but remember the time in which this was written. But he said, fixing my mind upon his holy presence, recalling it when I found it wandering from him, meaning God, this proved to be an exercise frequently painful, yet I persisted through all difficulties. So now the key to this practice is that you first must realize that we aren't seeking to gain something. It's much more than that. It is instead something, and we talk about this a lot here at Unity and probably a lot of other religions as well. It is instead something that we already have within us. We're just reminding ourselves that it's there and we're linking back to it, if we will. Almost like we have a little URL that we're clicking on and we're linking back to it. Back to the awareness and the presence of the God energy within. Now, our book mentions that it's the actual remembering of a time when we were together with God. And she goes on to say that this memory is planted deep within what the Sufis call the heart of the heart. She says the memory pulls us along, slowly surfacing until the sense of this togetherness becomes an integral part of everyday life. We just have to find that memory. We have to link back to it, and we have to allow it to surface. And the way we do that is to lift our consciousness, right? Love can help lift our consciousness. And the practice of Dhikr also is an excellent way to do that. Finding your mantra, your phrase, or your prayer from the heart, whatever it is that works from you, or any combination thereof. And speaking of prayer, we can also utilize prayer as well to help raise our consciousness. I mean, imagine living in the same home with your significant other and never having a conversation with them. You know that they're there. You see each other every day, yet you never speak. Do you think your connection is going to deepen? And I've got Steve and Sherry sitting over here kind of laughing, so I wish y'all could see this. But I seriously doubt that connection is going to deepen if you don't talk to each other. And it's the same way with our connection to God. Even though it's within us, we still need to connect to it to deepen our relationship with it. And when we do this, I feel that we can begin to experience that phrase that I've often heard as loving God and what that truly means. It also in turns begin to change our perception with how we see the world when we make that connection. And I think oftentimes, at least I know it's true for me, that we still don't always often grasp the true power of love. Now I remember growing up in my Sunday school class as a child, and I remember hearing love termed as agape, the word agape, which I later learned is the Greek word for the highest form of love. So in other words, we're not really talking about romantic love here. Now, while that's not a bad thing, we're going a little bit above and beyond romantic love. I will say, however, that those feelings we have with romantic love, we can experience those feelings at almost anything if we allow ourselves to do so. We can begin to experience that feeling in what we even used to perceive as the most mundane of tasks, of taking out the garbage. We can be grateful and feel that love even then. Love also happens to be one of the Unity 12 powers. Here at Unity, we view Jesus as our master metaphysician and a way shower, in that he showed us how to live and how to walk a true spiritual path. He had it mastered. He let us know that we too could do this, and he showed us how. One of the things even that Jesus perhaps spoke of the most was love. Now I feel that the book of John captures this beautifully, and it really hones in on how Jesus truly felt about the ultimate activity of love, and how the spiritual oneness that is found within that love pervades everything in the universe. And as such, we can probably safely say that there is absolutely nothing greater than the power of love. It is what links us to the mind of that God presence within each and every one of us. It's why Jesus spoke so frequently of love. It's why people such as Brother Lawrence spoke so frequently and highly of love. It's why so many spiritual teachers speak so frequently of love. It is through love where we begin to see harmony in the universe. Now, our Unity site, unity.org, it talks a little bit about love, and you can find all different types of things at that site, so I highly recommend you check it out. But I begin to see a pattern because I see love all over that site. It's just about in every article that they share on there. But it tells us that it is love that heals, prospers, attracts, holds, and makes real the good ideas. And divine love is the greatest power for protection in the universe. It is the key to truly becoming the eyes through which the universe sees itself. We must learn to see the world through that lens of love. Now, on a side note, I'm going to kind of detract away from that a minute. Seeing everything through the lens of love, however, doesn't mean that each and every one of us is going to agree on everything. It might make the world a pretty bland place if we did. I happen to really like vanilla pudding. Imagine if everybody else liked vanilla pudding. I would likely never find any available at the grocery store. We've got to have people that like chocolate and butterscotch, and Minnie likes tapioca, which kind of grosses me out. But we've got to have people that also like tapioca pudding. Can you imagine, though, if all of us even liked the color red, and that's what we wore every single Sunday? You come into church one Sunday, and somebody says, "Hey, where can I find a prayer chaplain so I can, get into a little bit of prayer?" And you go, "Oh, it's that person over there wearing the red shirt." You're not going to know where to go. But I think sometimes this might be one of our truest tests of love. It's to practice it even when we don't always agree on everything. And I know I struggle with that. I would imagine most of us do. I don't think there's a person alive who likely doesn't. Even Brother Lawrence admitted to challenges with that constant feeling of love. But we can maintain those feelings as often as possible. So that's the good news. Also, another one of the ways in which we can do this is through service to others. Now, service to others opens our hearts in ways in which we never imagined. Our book states, spirituality is not just about being cozy with God, but about allowing yourself to be used by God to make things better in the world. So one of the reasons as to why service is so important in opening ourselves to love is because service often leads to the dissolution of the ego. We start to forget about it a little bit. The ego comes knocking, "Hey, what about me? What about me? Hey, I don't know about you, but I'm busy. I'm busy in my service to others, so take a back seat." It allows us to put the ego kind of on the back burner for a while. Now, Mahayana Buddhism teaches that the selfless giver feels all pain as his or her own. There is no self and no other, no giver and no receiver. This takes service out of the realm of ego entirely. So service dissolves ego and begins to leave room for love to grow. Service then becomes love in action. So we truly are the eyes in which the universe sees itself, and one of the biggest ways in which we can truly begin to allow this to happen is through the power of love. Love to oneself, love to one another, service, prayer, that constant dialogue or connection to God. These are all ways in which we can feel and express that agape, that love. It's also really a realization that the eyes through which the universe sees itself requires you that we also need to grasp the fact that we are love. It then becomes much easier to radiate, doesn't it, when it's something that we already are. When we do realize that, we are just being, when we realize that we're love, that it's not something we seek, that we are it, we begin to radiate out that love that we truly are. So now I wanted to practice, and I normally ask people if they're willing, and I can't ask everyone necessarily out there and see your consent, but are you all willing to go into an exercise with me for a moment for love? Now, we've done this before, so some of you are probably going to remember it, but I want to go back to it again because I think it's so very important, and I think it will help connect us to love and give us something to go back to. So I want to go into the 12-power meditation exercise on love. So I ask you to just close your eyes for a moment and just relax just for a moment. And I invite you to bring your attention to the middle of your head. The middle of your head, which is the physical center for the faculty of faith, and it's represented by the disciple of Peter. And just silently or even audibly affirm to yourself, Christ in me quickens the disciple faculty of faith. I have faith in God so that when I say to a mountainous challenge, be thou removed, I do not doubt in my heart, and that which I say is done. Now let your attention travel to your strength center at the small of your back, which is just below the ribs and above the pelvis. And silently affirm, or audibly, Christ in me quickens the disciple faculty of strength in me. I am strong in the Lord and in the power of its might. And now bring the focal point of your attention up to the area behind your heart, which is the love center. And silently or audibly affirm these thoughts. Christ in me quickens the disciple faculty of love in me. I am a radiating center of pure, unadulterated love, mighty to attract my good and to radiate good to others. And as you bring your attention back to this room, you may now open your eyes when you're ready. And I just invite you today, as you go through the rest of your day and through this week and even through the rest of this time as this pandemic, however long it lasts, remember that you are love. It's not something you're seeking out there. It's not something we're seeking through another person, through an object, through anything other than that divine connection within ourselves. Remember that you are love, and remember, most importantly, that you truly are the eyes through which the universe sees itself. Namaste. Okay, and now Josie, when she was up here earlier, she mentioned that the Youth Ed were continuing to meet. And so I invite you to, we can't call the children up here like we normally do on Sundays, but I invite us all to still remember the children. And I would like to ask you and invite you to join with me in affirming and sending a blessing to our children in our Youth Ed department. Children in Youth Ed department, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. Okay, and now is the time when we go into the time of our service of our offertory. And while you're preparing your tithes and your offerings, I remind you to look at all of our online Zoom events. Josie mentioned some of them earlier. And to know that they're also on our calendar. If you go to unityofmadison.org, you will find all of our events and the Zoom links to those events. So I invite you to look at that. And just to remember that Silent Unity is standing by 24/7 to pray with you at any time you feel you need a prayer. And of course, here at Unity of Madison, we also have our prayer chaplains. We have myself. We are all willing and eager to pray with you at any time you feel you need a prayer. And I would like to invite our board president, Steve Roberts, here today, who is going to speak with you very briefly.
Thanks. Just a couple things briefly. As I'm sure you are all aware, our church, as most churches, receive a great deal of our income through the Sunday offering. And so having that be interrupted has been a challenge for churches everywhere. But I would like to thank our members on behalf of the board for their continuing generosity. We're seeing our income coming through online donations and people mailing in checks, and we're going to be able to sustain our organization, so thank you very much. And I would also like to say happy birthday, Kennedy Ring.
So just kind of piggybacking on what Steve said, we're just so grateful for your continued contributions to the church, and just know that we love you and we bless you. So now I would like to invite you to please take your tithes and offerings in your hand and to place them over your heart as we say together our offertory blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
That I forgot to say before, but we have a service called Vanco, which allows us to do online donations, and you can either do this via credit card or through an ACH transaction. And this is a great way to give to the church. I just started it when the pandemic came up, and no longer having to write checks. If you have need some assistance with it, you can contact myself, Nancy Sundahl, our treasurer, or I'm sure Reverend Evin. Any of us would be glad to help you get signed up and show you how it works. So that's it.
It's a new day, though it feels so cold outside. It's a new way, though it feels like a bumpy ride. We're going forward, ever worse. It's a new way. You gotta change your mindset. It's a new day. Don't count it out yet. It's a new walk, so you better start walking fast. 'Cause this old way, no, it ain't gonna last. Move on to parallel universe, where everything is better but nothing is ever worse. Gonna be a new ride, gonna take you mine. Just hold on tight, it's gonna be alright. Gonna be a new day, old problems gone away. Fill the world with love, with ideas from above. Wipe all the problems that you see, it's gonna be so beautiful. Everything you know, gotta go, replace it with beautiful. Don't swing the knife, drop your feet right into beautiful. So move on over to a parallel universe of beautiful. Just believe.
Steve and Sherry Roberts from our Unity Jazz Band. And Pete Calgaro. Woo. All right, and now, seems like we got to come down for a minute here. But I would like to now invite our virtual ushers forward so that we can bless our gifts. So we take time now to offer our gratitude for these gifts and send them forth to do God's good and mighty works. And now I invite you to all join us or stand whatever way you feel the most comfortable at home and join us for our peace song. week, I invite you to just always go back to the love that you are and to just hold that feeling and to truly remember that you are the eyes through which the universe sees itself. And now our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. And the presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Remember it and own it. Amen. I always want to say,